Let's see. There we go. We should be live now. Okay. Everything should be alright. I will say I have made my chat a little bit smaller so I can actually fit the patch notes in on my screen. So I might miss some comments during the stream. But be sure to just ask again in case I missed it. Let's see, where do we start? I guess it makes the most sense to just go over the new ships. Missile boat will be the second ship on the list. But first off, we have the Germans with the Z-46, which in all accounts is just a tech-tree version of the Z-47. But definitely not a miss. I think this is a very interesting ship to have in the tech-tree as well. I kind of like the look of the Z-47, so I'm definitely not going to mind the Z-46. Anything special for this ship compared to the other German ships is it does not have base fuse high explosive, only high explosive. But this was already the case for the Z-47, so that's nothing too new. It's the same number of guns, it's a lesser amount of anti-air guns. I need to actually go to preview again. But it's still 3 quad 20s, 2 automatic dual 37s. And some single 20s as well, and apparently does it ever... But yeah. No, that was just a leak list, but that's definitely not planned. No, you did, I was just started. There is nothing for America. That's why I didn't cover it. I am just covering the ships that are currently in the patch notes. We might still see ships for America when the update goes live, but there's none on the dev server, not at the moment. Yeah, Z-46. I'd say an all-right anti-air armament. Gun armament is weak, because it only has high explosive. Ooh, actual armor. Does the Z-47 also have this armor? How did I miss that? Okay, so it does actually have armor, that's interesting. Of course, light armor, but that is still good enough against most high explosive shells, especially at 30mm deck. When it comes to modifications, we have tools that we have mines, interestingly enough, not that they'll be of much use. 12 torpedoes and 18 mines potentially. Where are the torpedoes? Torpedo reload for the rear launcher by the looks of it. Ammo rack is poking slightly above the waterline, so that's vulnerability. Same for the rear one. All in all, not a meta-defining destroyer, definitely, but I am a fan of seeing it in the tech tree, especially since we had the premium Z-47 for a while. Royale is just the name of the update, Boyan. But yeah. So that is Z-46, the only German edition in this dev server. Then we go to the Russians with the Bravi at 220,000 RP. People are saying that's very expensive, but it isn't. That is just the top rank 4 RP cost for a ship, which sure is expensive and probably not what it should be when the update actually goes live, but oh well. So, Bravi, what is its main feature? The missiles. No, the update hasn't dropped, it's just the dev server. That's right, Mag. But it's still the Z-46 is... I'll test sell the Z-46 after this one. But yeah. So the Bravi missile launcher, of course, is the main thing. Other than that, it's mostly the same as the Spokojny. Armor-wise, no hull armor. Spokojny, we know the Spokojny is X-ray. Massive ammo rack of rockets, although I'm not entirely sure how volatile they'd be if they get hit. Other than that, there's no ammo above the waterline in the hangar. There's also a rocket launcher, but they're not the good rockets. We have same shells as on the Spokojny, and here is the missile stats in case you want to see them. So I'll leave this up in there. So it is SACLOS, meaning it follows the mouse. Okay, it's a big ol' missile. 16km range, 26-second guidance time, 42 kilogram TNT equivalent. The one thing I want you to note, though, is first off 300 meter arming distance, but that's fine. You won't really fire this thing at anything closer than 300 meters, that's for sure. But a 50 meter trigger radius. That is very big. So big that you actually will... It'll happen that you just won't shoot at an enemy aircraft. At least in test sales, I've just basically sparked on the aircraft. It just detonates, but it doesn't damage the aircraft enough. Other than that, its speed I can't actually tell, but I'll test sail it. I have on a test sail map actually detonated the German destroyer there, but they're not the most difficult to detonate. But I'll get to it in a second. Actually, I'll get to it now. I'll test sail the Bravi. Also, if you're noticing the lack of sound, for some reason there's no music on the dev server at the moment. And that is way too loud. There we go. Also, if you may notice, the missile tube is actually part, hold on, of the secondary weapon group. However, the AI gunners will not fire it, sadly. And the aircraft is right there, but that's way too close. So what I'm going to do is just sail away for a few minutes, whilst also trying out the missile against ships. So fire one. Missile goes a bit wobbly, but there it goes. And okay, no detonation there because I want too far in the rear. We'll fire the second one. And detonation. I don't know off the top of my head, but it's definitely not 50 meters. It might actually be a dev server thing that might be a bit too big for this missile. I'm not sure. Yeah, long reload, if you may have noticed. Of course, if you look at the reload now, this is with basically basic crew. There's no crew level. I can fire at the cruiser if you want me to try that. I probably will, but I'm going to continue sailing away from the aircraft.
Легкий крейсер. Беринг 280. Дистанция 7000. Средний. Стоп машины.
It said it had a minimum range of 300 meters, although that should be for the proximity fuse. What I'm going to do actually, I'm going to fire it in third person so you see what it does when I launch it. The smoke wouldn't... It wobbles quite a bit when you launch it. Okay, it damaged the ammo storage. 65 seconds reload. Let's see if we can actually destroy it as well. There goes the shell room. The thing is that I can't actually test how vulnerable this ammo rack is, but that is massive. I genuinely think it's so big that if you're bow on, if somebody shoots through your superstructure, it might hit the rockets anyways. I'm not sure if you can shoot the missiles again. I can't really try it out because I do not have the ship, because I'm sadly not a CC or a content contributor. So I don't actually own the ship, I can just test sail it. And we're starting to get far enough away where I can start testing out this missile. Although it's still quite close. But I think I'll use the missile. Also, I don't actually know what this mode does, but it does seem to activate as soon as you radar lock a target. So I'm going to do that. Fire. I think, yeah, determines its own lead is what it does, but it's... that was weird. Let's break the radar lock. Fire again. See what I mean about this detonation range? It detonates a bit too far away. Or I'm just using this missile wrong. Maximum range, it's at 16 kilometers. Yeah, I'll have to look into what this does. But currently seems like the detonation distance is a bit too great for my liking. It is very fast though.
Тяжелый крейсер. Беринг 300. Дистанция 9000.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll look at the. It should be stock, but I'll look at it and the modifications after this. But I think it should be a stock thing. Okay, fire again. Now it's chasing the target. Like, these are more realistic engagement ranges for these anti-air missiles. There we go, there it finally clipped the wing off. Yeah, I think it's probably a devserver thing that VT range is a bit weird. But these are very potent missiles just because of their speed. Okay, modifications. Missiles seem to be stock. They're not part of the secondary weapons, they're just a weapon on their own. Secondary weapons are, of course, the torpedoes and the submarine rockets. So yeah, these missiles do come stock on this vessel. Modification costs are kind of expensive, but still alright for a rank 4. Very much an interesting ship, and one I'm definitely going to get as soon as possible. Then, next, we go to Great Britain, with the HMS Daring coming after the Diana, and being the same ship class as the Diana. For as far as I can tell, there's only one difference with this and the Diana, and that is this torpedo tube. So the Daring has 2 quintuple launchers. Daring, yeah, and the Diana has the 1. For as far as I can tell, that's the only difference between the two vessels. I am not going to complain about 2 Daring class vessels though, because they are by far the best destroyers Britain has at the moment. And it's still pretty cheap. So definitely a very nice addition. Then we go into my favorite addition. For Japan, the Ise. A modernized version of the Hyuga class battle. Well, the Hyuga. It's the Ise class battleship, but well. The major differences between this and the Hyuga, of course, are the modernized refit, having some anti-air and an anti-torpedo bulge. I say some anti-air as it's a 1941 refit, so it's still early in the war. But yeah, the missiles are stock on the Russian boat. So Ise coming after Hyuga, which does make sense as they're the same class and one is clearly the better. Armor-wise, actually let's look at the modifications first. Modifications are pretty standard. Ise does get float planes. 3 of them in the back, 1 on the catapult and these 2 in reserve. Then, if you're familiar with the Hyuga, you know it's quite vulnerable to enemy fire. Let me actually go to customization, go to armor, and you'll see that this armor plating, especially broadside on, pokes above the waterline. This 56mm armor plating is right next to the magazine, well, the shell room, but that detonates into the magazine. So Hyuga is quite well known among battleship captains for being very fragile, especially on the front. Even in the rear it can be quite fragile, because surely it has, of course, it has a 299mm plate, but then very little protection straight into the magazine. The Ise, I think, is going to be a similar story, although in the hangar, in the port at least, the ammo is below the waterline. But the armor is even worse. Now this part is covered by the torpedo protection, so it will absorb a shell or an A salvo. But I'm curious to see how that'll do in actual matches. Actually, that is quite a decent box, but it's just... I'm curious to see if the ESA will have the same vulnerability. Let's actually go into test sail and take another closer look at the X-ray view. So you see the torpedo bulge being quite large on the ship. It also covers the frontal magazine somewhat. Anti-armament is light for Japanese battleship, but it should be fine for most smaller and close-in targets. Why are the 5-inch gun turrets not turning? Oh, they are, okay. Yeah, Japanese anti-air. I'm looking forward to the ESA. It looks like it's going to be a fun ship. Gives me another reason to actually go spade my Fuso and Haruna. So yeah, the ESA. Then we probably get into our most anticipated addition for this update. The French naval forces. I can't test drive all of them because I don't have any of them except for the reserve, but I'll see if I can actually grind out some of them over the coming weekend. And we'll just go at them one by one, rank by rank. So first, the Chacal. I believe that's how you say it in French. Quite a funky little vessel. That's 3.7 for reserve with 130mm guns, but as you can see, those guns are quite stubby. What else can I see? Torpedoes are centerline mounted. You have 6 of them. Anti-air is non-existent as you only has these 275s. Armor has none, only 10mm anti-frag armor on the turrets. X-ray, let's take a look. In the hangar, the ammo is just below the waterline. That's good enough. Shell rooms, of course, the ready rooms can be detonated though. And modifications. Let's look at the shells. So for a high explosive, that's not too bad. Pardon me. A bit on the slower side, definitely, but other than that, it looks alright. Sap. It looks alright to me, although again on the slower side. It's a long fuse, I think, on those shells. Quite a long fuse. And I think this one I can also test drive, so let's do just that.
À vos postes de combat.
Let's put my guns on air targets only. Not that I think those 75s will do much. And I didn't check the torpedo stats, so let's check that here. 72 kph, 9 kilometers, and 308 kilograms of explosive mass. Okay, my anti-air gun managed to shoot down that USS 88. That's good. And again, that's a large target. This is a very long destroyer now to look at it.
Moteur, pleine puissance.
The speed is, I'd say, possible, especially for that range. But I need to check in the hangar if that's not with torpedo modification or not. The guns are slow to traverse, but that is to be expected of the French destroyers. Long reload is... Ooh, that's a new feature as well, that I was going to get to, but oh well. Long reload is going to be a bit painful for this vessel, although it's a fast ship. 66 kph. 11-second reload, that is with a stock crew though. And let's see how hard this HG hits. Pretty hard. They are very slow shells, so they tend to they hang in the air for quite a long time. This new waterline indicator is a new feature of this update. Very nice, because it actually makes you know, is that ammo rack I'm shooting at actually above the waterline, is it below the waterline, and now you can actually see, which is very, very nice. So the Chacal, a fast destroyer, quite as agile, although I don't know if this is in reference or if this is stock. Let me actually check. Stat card seems to be wrong because I only got it up to 6. Ah, it's arcade, of course. Hold on. 64. It is... Let me see. Okay, so that is the torpedo speed without torpedo mode modification. That's acceptable. It's not optimal. For me personally, 70 kph is the bare minimum for a good torpedo when it comes to speed. 300 kilograms of explosive mass is fine as well. 9 kilometer range is also fine. So that is the Chacal, which seems like a fine little destroyer, although a bit difficult. Then we go to the Burrasque. Let's preview it. Is this so 130-40 model 1919? Is this the same gun? It is the same gun as the Chacal. It has one less. It is slower. Does it have armor? No. Same 10mm anti-frag. X-ray view. Ammo seems far below the waterline, and that's a nice bit of detail towards the loading mechanism. Modifications. Of course, the Chacal came with all the speed modifications out of the box. So it's the same gun, so it's going to be the same shell performance. It has 37s. Let me check. 2 37s. Are they on the bridge? X-ray view, help me. There they are. Are those the 37s? They're kind of small for 37s. Okay then. So 37s. Does it have the same torpedoes? It has the same torpedoes. Turret reverse is the same, I'm assuming. 4.2 degrees compared to 4.2. Yep, same turret reverse. I just want to check the speed again. So it goes 52 stock, then it adds 1.6 is 54. That is not a speed upgrade. 56. It can go up to 60, that's fine. That is more than acceptable for a destroyer, a bit on the slow side. But that's the Burrasque. Panther seems to be just a Burrasque class, apparently. Let me double check. No, it's the same as the Chacal, okay. I thought the Chacal had 5 guns, it does. Whilst the Panther has 4 guns. There's not really much to say about the reserve destroyers. They're nothing too special usually. It's the same torpedo by the looks of it. Yeah, it does get depth charges, okay. Anti-air is slightly improved by the looks of it, but nothing too good. Camos, that's a good question actually. Do they have camos? No, at the moment. But they have said that the French Navy Tech tree at the moment is incomplete. So they might be getting camos when it actually releases. But that was a good question because I completely forgot to actually check if they had camos or not. But it seems that at the moment they do not. So on to rank 2 with the Vautour. So this is the 138.6mm gun, 1927. Is that the same gun as the Aigle? That is the same gun as the Aigle, okay. So this gun we're kind of familiar with already. It is a speedy boy, which can go up to 64, 67, 72 kph, I think is what I'm calculating there, 72, 71. So that's a very fast destroyer. It's a very big destroyer as well. These French destroyers seem very big to me. Has 5 guns, has a 75 for anti-air duty right there. Some 37s and 2 dual 13s and some single 13s as well. Mediocre anti-air armament, that's for sure. But it's something, I guess. Torpedoes are still the same. Okay, so that's a fast destroyer. That's going to be interesting. Then we go on to the Milan, which is an Aigle class, so it's probably going to be very familiar to us. Yeah, it's the Aigle class. Although with a funky torpedo layout. This is the first, I think, of the funky French torpedo layouts with 2 wing launchers and 1 centerline launcher. Which I am not opposed to. Gonna be an interesting ship, although it's basically a slightly different Aigle. Still the same torpedoes, I believe. Yep, still the same torpedoes. And it can carry mines, okay. It can carry new mines. Well, you'd think that, but it says Aigle class, so... C and D. I'm not too familiar with the French ship, so I should probably look into it at some point. But alright, that's rank 2. On to rank 3 with the Fantasque class Le Malin. This looks exciting to me because it has the same gun caliber, but it's a longer gun. Also the funny wing torpedo tubes. Anti-armament is a bit better with 2 dual Bofors and a bunch of 20 mils. It's a different torpedo as well, I think. Is it still the same? It's still the same torpedo. At this rate, I'd actually want a bit of a better torpedo, something faster. But I'm curious about the guns, actually, because we haven't seen them yet. 800 meters a second. Compared to... If we go to the Aigle... Compared to 700 meters a second, so it's a full 100 meters a second faster, the shell velocity. I really wish I could test it at the moment, but I can't, sadly. But I'll try and get it this weekend. Then we go to the first cruiser, Jeanne d'Arc. And this is a very funky looking cruiser. It also looks more like a cruise liner than an actual cruiser. Although I'm not too sure about the history of the ship, so it actually might be one. Weirdly enough, this seems, weirdly enough, this seems like a Tech 3 counterpart to the De Guet-Drouin when it comes to anti-armament, with having lots of Bofors. 1040mm Bofors, 475s with these gun shields, and 1820 mils. And is that the same gun as the other as the De Guet-Drouin? It is the same gun as the De Guet-Drouin. There it is. Interesting little cruiser. Does it have armor? It has no armor, but I did switch that one off. Yeah, it's the same armor as the De Guet-Drouin. Basically some magazine protection. And that's about it. Interesting first cruiser. It's a bit on the... very much on the slow side. Does it get upgraded? I also forgot to look at the Fantasque speed. So it goes from 43 to 44... 45, 46, depending on how you want to round it. To 50 maybe at best. 49, that's a very slow cruiser. That is going to be painful. Although it can at least protect itself from aircraft somewhat. But yes, that is Jeanne d'Arc. Then we go to Primagre. Which is, for as far as I can tell, the same class as De Guet-Drouin. Yep, De Guet-Drouin class vessel, just another refit of it. With torpedoes, very much a fan of. And not that much anti-air, sadly. So it has the 475s, but then the other anti-air is just 13.2s. Does this one have armor? It does, same as De Guet-Drouin. Torpedoes are the same torpedo by the looks of it. And the shells we should be familiar with if we've played De Guet-Drouin, which I have on stream on several occasions. You say it's worse, but it has torpedoes. And I think, is it faster? It goes 52. The Guet-Drouin goes 61 spaded. 52 is, of course, stock. That is then 53.6. 54.4, 56.4. Yeah, it should be roughly the same speed. It's just that you trade anti-air capability for torpedoes. And a lot of torpedoes, I think. Like, do they carry reloads? They do carry reloads as well, so it's a broadside of 6 and then another 6. Torpedoes are a bit mediocre, though, I will admit. It does have a scout plane as well. Oh, I'm really curious to see what scout plane it is. Oh, it's a shame I can't actually check because I don't have the ship. But I'm definitely going to work on this tech tree this coming weekend. And then we get to the biggest ship at the moment, which is Colbert. Which seems like it also has hydroplanes. It also has torpedoes. It's still the same torpedo, okay. It has TF rounds for the 90 mils. Which has 8 90 mils, so 4 aside in single mounts. I like the look of the Colbert. It looks like a pretty neat heavy cruiser. Armor. Why is there just a void here? I guess there's nothing there either, but that's just going to be crew compartments getting shot to oblivion. Although I think you might just be missing some armor plates. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Again, I'm seeing some armor plates, but it's not showing on the X-ray viewer properly. So the armor is definitely light for a heavy cruiser, but it's not nothing by the looks of it. Turret rotation speed is something I want to look at. That's X-ray view. Slow, but that's kind of to be used to. 135 degrees is not bad for horizontal guidance limits. Fire rate of 4 rounds a minute. Yeah. The one thing I've seen a lot of people say that this will make this ship bad is the THAP round. But in my opinion, I think that round should be fine for most targets you'll face at 5.3. It will struggle against armor, especially the actual heavy cruisers you'll see in up tiers. But it has no problem with destroyers, and it should have very little problem with early cruisers. First stage is 6 RPM, is it? Did I just... I did just look over it. Yeah, the first stage is 6 RPM. That's alright for a heavy cruiser, 10-second reload. It also carries torpedoes, and I'm always a fan of ships carrying torpedoes. It's still the same torpedo though, sadly. I'm so sad I can't actually see what hydroplane it is. Well, also I was going to look at the Malin again. Why was I going to look at the Malin? Yeah, speed. 67 kph stock, oh boy. 69.1. 69.6. 72.6. 77.7, if I got my maths right. So this is going to be the fastest destroyer we'll have in game. Yeah, that's lightning quick 77 kph. Now, whether or not it'll get up to speed quickly is another question. I forgot actually to look at the ammo, but it seems to be below the waterline, although the secondary isn't. Barely isn't. But Le Malin seems like it's going to be a very interesting destroyer. I'm looking forward to trying this ship out. What's the reload rate on it? That's more than fine, 12 rounds a minute. Is the Moskva still faster? Okay. Yeah, the French naval tree seems to be quite interesting. Even we don't have the full picture of the naval tree, obviously, but it does seem quite interesting already. Then we get on to other changes and stuff, I guess. There's the new map, but sadly I cannot find it in the test tries, but I'm going to try and get into a battle and see if I can just get it like that. Other changes. We don't care about ground vehicle changes at the moment. There was a French BB, actually let me bring that up real quick. I should be able to do that. If I didn't mess up my keybinds. Let me just really quickly find you the battleship that was data mined literally the second the dev server got updated. And I think... There you go. It is the Keybinds class battleship called Paris. Which looks quite chunky, that's for sure. And I am looking forward to seeing how this will do. I'm not too familiar with the ship itself, so I think those are just 12-inch guns, but it does have a broadside of 10, most of them centerline mounted. There's quite a nasty complement of secondary guns as well, but I have no clue about anti-air complement and stuff like that. So I'll just wait to see it actually on the dev server or even on the live server. Nope. There we go. What else? What else? I was scrolling through the list. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, they said something about Super Dreadnought, but people are I've heard some people think that when they said Super Dreadnought, they meant the ISE. Although we'll have to see. Other stuff. Come on, where is it? Ah, this is something I want to talk about. Apparently, reloading ships on capture point. Oh yeah, yes, I heard talks especially about the coastal vessel having its missiles. Let me double check. I do have it. Oh. Oh, does it have its Strellas modeled? Does it have its Strellas modeled? It seems like it. Okay. I'm going to switch off my AI gunners because I don't want them to interfere. So, Alt X, it's saying. God, I don't know what my keybinds are for this stuff. Let me find my keybinds. Oh yeah, they changed this look as well. Would it be somewhere in here? Actually, hold on. I should be able to just click. No. Is it? Oh, it's a secondary weapon group. Okay. Thank you for the subscription. And I'm sorry, but I couldn't pronounce the name. I think I'll just butcher it. But thank you for subscribing anyways. Now, can I... Come on. It does not want to lock. I think I need to bind controls for missiles first. Let's go for ground vehicles. Weapon lock. Mouse button 4. It should be working, but I can't... Yep. Maybe it needs a radar lock, but I doubt it because it's an IR missile. But I just cannot get the button to work. Oh, you know what I'm curious about? Let's... Will the Strela fire on its own? I don't want my other anti-aircraft guns to fire, but I can't really change that. It doesn't seem like the Strela will fire on its own though. Let's restart that. And I need to find a keybind for that missile. Do I have... I think this might be in conflict with this. Let's delete that. I don't care for ranging shots anyways. No. Is it an aircraft button? Trying to actually find the correct button again is going to be quite some work. It's not going to be in common, it's going to be in infantryman because that's just April Fools. There it is. So if I just do add, so mouse button 5, that's ground vehicles, that's fine. There's no naval bind for it.
Боевая тревога.
I'm pressing my button and nothing's happening.
Воздух.
They might definitely be planning to add functionality, but it is currently not working for me at least. But that's something to keep an eye on for the next coming days. Might actually come to work. There are other vessels as well of it, aren't there? I don't have the 204, sadly. I think it's just all later tech-free vessels also have them. I don't have the 131 though, sadly. No. But that's it actually has 2 of them. But that's something I'll keep an eye on. Okay, so that's being added as well. Good to know. But I was going on about reloads and caps. Apparently, you will now no longer reload ammunition in single shells. It's going to be reloaded in batches, and the size of the batch depends on the maximum ammo capacity of your guns, apparently. Which is going to be neat. I'm going to try that out later. A bug fix of Candid, nothing too important. Let me check the Cyclone. I don't have the Cyclone though, sadly. Let me check it. It'll probably be in modifications if it does, and it doesn't seem like it. Nope. But okay, USS Candid, a bug fix which made the mortars unable to reload. That's Nevada got a bug fix to going about scout planes, but that's fine. Apparently for HMS Abdeel, a bug got fixed that overestimated gun spread, which I always thought that the dispersion on the Abdeel was weird, so that's good to know. The Guetrouin has a new shell added for the 75s. I completely forgot about that. Apparently they now have TF rounds. That's very nice. Did they always? Mark 108 weapon alpha apparently has different flight characteristics, and I do want to test that real quick. Which is going to be Isuzu, and we do have to carry the weapon alpha. There we go. So let's see what the missile does now. Before they wouldn't go past 600 meters, so let's just aim up a bit. Jesus Christ. Okay. So that is definitely a higher arc. And it no longer self-detonates at 600 meters. It definitely seems like it still has a limited max range, but that arc makes more sense for a depth charge launcher. Let's aim a bit closer. Like way closer. That makes more sense for a depth charge launcher, okay. Then, more changes. This one is going to be a bit controversial. And that is, and I'm going to find a ship I can actually show it on. You know what? I have a ship I can show it on. Akazuki. We go to test sail. That is what I want to bring at the moment. And that is this change. AI fire on main caliber turrets has been disabled. So when switching to the second, which I currently have, or third weapon group, the main guns will remain stationary. With that, they mean they won't target surface vessels or aircraft. And that's kind of the annoying part. The AI gunners are now disabled on the main guns, and this is clearly a change to fight the naval botters. That's clearly why it's in there. The problem is, the people botting naval vessels no longer use the AI gunners on their main guns. If they did this like 5 months ago, it might have had a meaningful impact. But the botters don't do that anymore. They actually use an aimbotting program together with their other stuff. So what this does now is really annoying. Like, main guns no longer firing at surface targets, that's fine. But on some vessels, them no longer firing at air targets really kills their potential. Akazuki is one of them. You'd often, if you had like a target 2 kilometers away, just let the main guns go to AI control, fire their targets. That's what I always did. You can no longer do that. You have to manually use them. Another ship this will heavily impact, which you might not realize, is the USS Atlanta. That is this ship. Because the Atlanta, I'm just going to go to customization, has very little anti-air. It only has 3 Chicago pianos. So if you like have an enemy aircraft, like a B-17, 4 kilometers away, and you just said, I don't really want to try and shoot at it manually, I'll let my AI gunners do it with the Alaska. With not the Alaska, the Atlanta, you can no longer do that. No. At the start it didn't. Well, it depends on... Let's clarify this again. You have 2 kinds of bots, especially at the beginning. You have the kind of bots that went into the Russian ships and used an aimbot right from the get-go. They were there to, I think, exploit the refer a friend program, you know, where you can click a link, a friend sends you through, and if you progress through the ranks, you get rewards from it. Or the friend that sent you that link got rewards from it. Those bots always used aimbots from the beginning. They weren't that common, but after a while, you saw the people. Then you saw the Helena bots that I refer to as zombies. They would legitimately get into some premium cruiser, sail in a straight line, swap to the anti-air guns, and let the AI gunners fire the main guns. That's what they used to do. And as you may have noticed, I said used to do. Those bots no longer do that. They use an aimbot as well. So again, this change would have been effective back when the zombies actually used AI gunners for the main guns. They just don't do that anymore, so it's not real. It will not have any effect other than annoy the people who use their main guns as anti-air guns. A bit of a thanks for trying, Gaijin, but too late. So then we get to HMS Norfolk, which apparently has a smokescreen re-added. Dante has a smokescreen removed, but that's fine. Attilio Regulo. Okay. Attilio Regulo apparently had a modification that wasn't invalid, as it didn't have a certain weapon group. Pardon me. Fletcher got swapped up a bit, and I'm going to look at it for a second. So Fletcher always had a bit of a weird thing going on, as it's, I think, the only real ship that has this. Okay, apparently I have to rearm that. There we go. Where you can either choose between having 3 guns, or you can choose between having 2 guns and 2 torpedoes, although I can't see the torpedo tubes at the moment. That's probably a devserver bug. But that kind of made some very weird things happen, like ammo loads didn't make sense. You couldn't apparently set you couldn't set the torpedo depth. And apparently now you can also choose this, because it's offensive armor. You can change this before you spawn in battle. Very nice addition. So other than that, a whole bunch of damage model changes, kind of. So, propeller shafts, and I'm actually going to take a big old battleship to show this on. And why not take the EC? Propeller shafts are now their own module. They used to be part of the transmission module. So if you knocked out a propeller shaft, you'd knock out the entire transmission, basically. What this means is, of course, it's its own module now, so it won't knock out everything. And I'm going to repeat it after my upload speed stabilizes. But yeah, propeller shafts are now their own module. You lose speed if it gets knocked out, but that's predictable. For now, they're only separate modules on battleships. Other vessels will receive this change as well. I think this makes it. I'm not entirely sure why they changed it, but I get a sneaking suspicion it's to do with crew. Because I think propeller shafts are not going to have any crew, whilst transmissions always had crew associated with them as well. And when they were a single module, you can knock out propeller shafts by landing a bomb next to them, meaning you could knock out the transmission by landing a bomb right at the rear of the ship. I think so, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what that should mean. Which probably also means less crew loss for ships. Then, a big old chunk of text. The damage model for battleships has been improved, quote unquote, I'll say. The crew of a battleship is now distributed mainly in the Citadel. Modules covered with armor are now of great value. A situation where significant losses might be inflicted on the crew located outside of the armor protected area, in auxiliary caliber mounts, on the below the upper deck, so like the upper crew compartments, has been fixed. Now another battleship or battlecruiser can deal serious damage in one-time damage to a battleship if it successfully penetrates its armor and hits the most important internal modules. So this should make battleships a bit more... This should make battleships less vulnerable to stuff like light cruisers, but more vulnerable to like being broadside onto other battleships, being out of position. Like the text goes on that says it should put... Let me rephrase it because I'm stumbling over my own tongue. They're emphasizing in this change that this should impact battleships in a more tactical sense, where if you don't position yourself well, where if you show too much broadside, if you're too close to enemies, a good salvo from an enemy battleship will rip your crew apart, is what it is saying. Which I don't disagree with. And it should also make you tougher for incoming like light cruiser damage. I think there's one ship I kind of know the crew layout of, and that is the the Arizona. And I'm going to see what actually happens. That's not the button I wanted. I wanted armor, protection analysis. So I know the Arizona has a lot of crew compartments over here. What's this? Let me actually read through it. But I'm not familiar with that text. I think that's something I'm just going to have to look into later. So, okay. I have no clue what that's about. We'll just put it in 0 for the time being. We'll fire an AP shell. There should be a crew compartment here. And look at that, there's no longer a crew compartment there. And I'm pretty sure there is a crew compartment there in the current Arizona. I think there used to be one here as well. So what this should mean is that battleships are going to be a whole lot tougher. Of course, that just gets eaten by the torpedo protection. I am definitely going to see what this change does with just battle testing off stream. But that seems interesting, to say the least. Okay, so that's everything I really wanted to cover that I could see on the list. So I'm going to close that list and make my chat a bit bigger. If there are any other questions about other stuff on this update, ask ahead. I'm going to, I think, try and find a naval match with maybe the French stuff, and I hope I get a new map. So I'm going to do just that. I think I might actually just go with the reserve and nothing else. I'll see the one. Yeah, I'll look at the Congo for a second because I'm not too familiar with the crew layout though. I haven't played battleships in a while. Armor protection, that can go on 0 just fine. We want to fire AP. So where is there like a group around here? I'm not seeing any crew compartments, man. Yeah, I want to try and find that map as well. I just cannot launch a custom battle with the new map yet. It seems that there's genuinely just no... Oh, there's a crew compartment. There's a crew compartment there. But there's like none up high, like above the armor. Like, is there one here? I know there should be one here. Doesn't seem like it. That's going to make battleships a whole lot tougher. That's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, I'm going to just jump in the queue with the French ships and see what happens. Crew being in the Citadel might make you more vulnerable, I guess. If you can pan the plating around it, that is. It's just going to take ages for me to find a match anyways. I'm going to check again on the Congo, sorry. I think it's going to take way too long for me to find a match anyway, so I might just look around. Let's go to Congo again, armor. Also, if there's any non-naval stuff you want me to look at, go ahead and ask. Seeing as I'm on the devserver anyways. Yeah, there's no crew right there. Is there one like actually behind the armor? There is, but could you see that? Hold on. Like, you see this little like segment that's being highlighted when it pans a plate. It looks kind of interesting. Oh, did you, by just playing the game, or what happened? Or did you get it in a custom battle? I'm gonna see if I can find it in a custom battle, but I don't think I can. It's definitely not currently up, by the looks of it. So let's see, can we find it? So it's France. Not gonna come up on the search, that's for sure. And I am just gonna play the French then. And just stay in the queue. We'll brave it, see what happens. Yeah, I assumed that map was going to be a lot more frequent to see now. Just for my own information, Space Kraken, what lineup did you queue up with? It's going to be, when this update goes live, I have 3 things I'm going to have to do. I'm going to play the Japanese battleships to get Ise, so I'm going to definitely figure out this new battleship HP thing. I'm going to try and get the Bravi as soon as possible. And the French Navy is going to be my top priority for the next update. But yeah, I got a naval match. Did I get a new map? Did I get the new map? I did get the new map. Okay, good. I can actually look around then. Also, the keen-eyed amongst you might have noticed there's no coastal tree for France yet. And I do hope it doesn't stay like that. You can see fortifications on the minimap. I assume the enemies are roughly similar. I really want to see how this turns out. Yep, thank you for the subscription. Ramatula, I think.
Barre à tribord.
Barre à tribord, terminé. Contre-torpilleur. À l'avant.
Okay, we have, of course, lots of AIs.
Combat de combat. Ennemi détecté.
Okay, rendering is a bit of an issue in naval, so, but there we have the enemy base. I can't lock onto it at the moment. Doesn't seem like I can. Frames are a bit low, and I'm sorry about that.
Barre à bâbord, tout.
À bâbord, tout. Terminé.
Barre au milieu du navire.
Barre au milieu du navire. Terminé.
I'm gonna try and actually sail to one of my friendly fortifications. Just to take a look at it from up close.
À l'avant. 11 000 mètres.
Turret reverse is incredibly slow. I think it looks pretty interesting as a map as well. The destroyer spawn is a bit too open. A little bit of a mess. I'll give it a second for my upload speed to catch up again. There we go. But yeah, I think the destroyer spawn is a little bit too open still. Range to the enemy spawn is
Contre-torpilleur.
alright.
Position.
Hello, William.
0.
I have gone over all the stuff already though, so I'm sorry if you've missed it, but I can repeat stuff if you want me to.
Contre-torpilleur. À tribord. 9 000 mètres.
But we are currently having a look at the new map in the new French reserve. Oh yeah, the islands are definitely tall enough to actually be cover. That's for sure.
Barre à tribord.
Barre à tribord.
Look at it.
Terminé.
Flight velocity. Very low.
Ennemi
I do like the new waterline thing. It really helps me figure out where the modules are in the ship.
Contre-torpilleur. À l'avant. 9 000 mètres.
This is definitely not a long range. Okay, somebody got destroyed by a coastal gun, I think. Actually, yeah, this is one of the fortifications, isn't it? So, what are the gun turrets? They're already firing at coastal vessels, I think, yeah.
identifié. Bateau.
Getting close to hitting these coastal vessels, too.
5 000 mètres. Barre à bâbord.
Barre à bâbord. Terminé.
Enemy fortifications are now shown on the map. Couldn't put my gunners on all targets. At 75 might actually hit something, with a bit of luck. That's not enough lead. I'm being shot at by another coastal battery. And I think I'm gonna try if I can actually knock it out.
Moteur.
So that's the coastal battery. My cursor is clearly doing some weird stuff. We're going to see what happens if we shoot at it. It's tracking that, but I don't want to track that. I want to track the coastal fortifications.
8 0. 3 000 mètres.
Contre-torpilleur. À l'avant. 8 000 mètres.
Tribord. Tout.
À tribord. Tout. Terminé.
I'll see if I can get closer to that and see if I can destroy it somehow.
Bateau. 1 0 0.
I think that might be, yeah, so I'm gonna try and get closer to it, see if I can target it. Them being lit up on the map is quite good, so it means you can actually plan out routes. It seems... Not quite sure how effective they're going to be against coastal vessels though.
Terminé.
Cible identifiée.
They might might be quite scary if you're in a coastal vessel.
4000 mètres.
Too much lead, if only barely.
9000 mètres. Cible identifiée. Contre-torpilleur.
8-0.
These guns are difficult to use against coastal vessels just because of their flight time.
Par à bâbord.
All full of destroyers getting close. These guns do hit pretty hard though, for a reserve, so that's good. There's so many enemy destroyers around.
Cible touchée par les obus.
Contre-torpilleur. À tribord. 4000 mètres.
The reel is definitely similar to that of the... That's also a change. Like this text is no longer obnoxiously in the middle of the screen. It now appears next to your little X-ray model, which is very nice.
À tribord. Terminé. Barre au milieu du navire. Terminé. Torpille prête. Barre à tribord.
I'm gonna try and make my way to one of the fortifications. Out of the plan at least.
Contre-torpilleur.
A bit of a delay there with my torpedo kills.
Perd de la vitesse.
Préparez des tubes lance-torpilles.
Pretty tubes are also kind of slow to rotate. More than fine.
Torpille prête.
Yeah, he's turning in quite hard, isn't he? Yeah, my torpedoes are having a very delayed action.
Cible identifiée. Contre-torpilleur.
500 mètres.
Bâbord.
Fortifications over there.
Terminé.
It is indeed that time again.
Cible identifiée. Bateau.
Position 8-0. L'ennemi gîte et perd de la vitesse.
I will say the map in and of itself looks kind of cool. But yeah, that fortification mechanic needs to be... I want to figure it out, but I just can't get close enough.
Contre-torpilleur.
8-0. 1000 mètres.
Préparez des tubes lance-torpilles.
Torpille prête.
Yeah, that's just gonna do nothing.
Groupe de réparation. Commencez à contrôler les dégâts.
There's nothing I can lock onto yet. I don't see any target indicators.
Contre-torpilleur.
But I'm gonna try and focus on this fortification up ahead. So there's a gun... Oh, they're in the bunkers, are they, the guns? Yeah, they are. So how do you actually destroy this? Do we just like shoot into it?
Croiseur léger. À l'avant. 5000 mètres.
Nope, there I got a hit. Because I shot into the bunker.
Tout. Contrôle des dégâts au groupe de réparation. Rétablir.
I'm having some difficulty getting my gun stable though.
Barre au milieu du navire. Contrôle des dégâts au groupe de réparation. Pompez l'eau des compartiments inondés. Maintenant.
Okay, let's go for another target maybe.
Contrôle des dégâts à vos postes.
What did I get a hit on?
Bateau. 3000 mètres.
There we go, got another hit. I think I have to hit the central structure, but I'm not entirely sure if I'm hitting the gun or if I'm hitting the command post, so to speak. Because it seems like it's just going through that bunker or whatever I'm doing, and game over anyways. Oh, there I go. Okay. So you just have to shell the entire base and it'll destroy itself. Okay. Got the Burrasque unlocked as well, like that. I might actually just keep playing the French destroyers. To see where that'll lead. I think, yeah, you just bombard the entire base until it dies. With torpedo modification, what does this thing become? Not that much worse, although I don't really think you need 13 kilometer range. And what is the torpedo? Not torpedo, the gun turret reverse. 5 degrees a second compared to 4.2. But let's keep going. But yeah, I don't think you have to go for specific guns. You just have to bombard the entire base. Which for a destroyer seems to take quite a few salvos. With just HE. I am going to play one match in battleships just to see if I can get this map in a battleship as well. I doubt it. But I'm going to try. What I actually also really want to do is get a coastal vessel and artillery strike a base and see what happens. I think that's what I'm going to do next. Could actually do both of those at the same time. So there's an enemy base right there. And there I targeted it. Targeting T6. Okay, I'm going to just sit here and bombard that base. Just 2 shells. The rear 2 guns weren't exactly on target. Should be 3 shell hits. There we go. That's a total of 5. That will be 9. Yeah, I think it's like a bombing base, so it's just an area with a certain amount of HP that you have to attack. 13. Should be 17. Yeah, they added new radio commands and I just lost. Okay. 25. There's actually an enemy player, okay. 27.
Contre-torpilleur! À l'avant! 9000 mètres!
29. There's an option to use the Strelas Maximilian, but I have not gotten it to work. I couldn't get the lock to actually start locking onto vehicles. So 31 hits. Oop, I've lost target lock. There it is.
280.
Yeah, the targeting is a bit weird, the aiming system, but in general I don't really rely on the feedback it gives you anyways. I think I'm hitting that tower, so I need to be hitting a bit behind it. It is no problem, Maximilian. That's what I'm streaming the devserver for. I have. It is very effective against destroyers. It is mediocrely effective against the cruiser Köln. No, the German light cruisers. It does seem to be a bit weird though still at the moment, so I'd wait until the actual live server to see how well it'll perform. I'm still getting hit, so I should really continue firing. It seems like it takes a lot of hits to take out this base. There we go. Big ol' explosion effect. Not a lot of score though. But yeah, you just have to shoot the base in its entirety to knock it out. You don't have to like shoot individual guns. That's good to know. The fact that they've changed, it's not controls, it's options? No, it isn't. It is controls. My favorite here should be attack. There it is. Because now I should have... Nope. It'll be fine, live server. Yeah, also because this ship is stuck and I lost both my front guns, it's gonna be a bit painful.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
I'll definitely have to mess around with these bases, with bombing stuff and... But yeah, I barely got... I got no score out of it, really. Although I didn't actually catch what the rewards were for destroying it. That blue line, I love it. It helps you so much actually seeing where the modules are. Especially if you're a newer player, that blue line makes the extra camera so much clearer. Oh, what do we have over there? Ah, that's the enemy player then. That makes sense. In his degree through.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
I think actually you can request stuff, can't you? Oh yeah, D5. There we go. Requested. Ooh, that's nice. So you can like ask your teammates, do you have a target for me to attack in an aircraft? I require aircraft support. That is very nice for those commands to actually be a thing. Because the thing with those kind of these chat commands, right, is that they're automatically translated into whatever language the user has selected. So let's say you're playing on... currently this is... Actually don't know what the server is, but I might for example be on the Russian server. And people don't speak English on the Russian server or somebody. Like let's say I only have one other teammate left alive, he's in an aircraft, he doesn't speak English. How do I ask him that I need something from him? And those voice commands are definitely a good way to do it. I've lost my bridge, so I can't steer to... I don't think that's how the torpedo tube should look. The bridge keeps getting caught on fire. He's just going to be annoying. I'm just going to J out because I don't have much of the ship left anyways. almost have enough for... Oop, I have sap, so let's actually try that next.
Contre-torpilleur! À l'avant! 4000 mètres!
Branle-bas de combat! Ennemi détecté! Tribord, tout!
À tribord, toutes!
It is not too bad.
Barre au milieu du navire!
Part au milieu du navire!
The reward for it.
Cible identifiée! Patrouilleur!
Of course, it's a good try. I will immediately shoot at the player, because I wouldn't.
We're controlling most of the
It's not like he literally has a shit ton of other targets.
Contre-torpilleur! À l'avant! 8000 mètres! Perforation sous la ligne de combinaison!
Let's hope that actually goes through, because on the desert you're not entirely sure if the alt that actually goes through or not.
Bâtiment inondé! Maintenant!
Inondation détectée dans le compartiment! Inondation! Patrouilleur! À bâbord! 6000 mètres!
No clue where those shells went.
Suivi des dégâts! L'ennemi gîte et perd de la vitesse! Contrôle des dégâts en cours de réparation! Rétablissez l'étanchéité!
There we go.
Contrôle des dégâts à vos postes! Barre à bâbord!
Barre à bâbord! Terminé!
Cible identifiée! Patrouilleur! 2, 8, 0! 6000 mètres!
These ships also list quite a lot in a turn, which is a bit concerning. But that might get ironed out.
Contre-torpilleur! À l'avant! 4000 mètres!
Oh, my rearmost gun is... well, this gun is being blocked by the mast. Okay.
Barre à tribord!
Barre à tribord! Terminé!
I wish I could, but I don't have any of the cruisers with the scout planes.
Torpilleur! À bâbord!
So I can't actually show it to you. I'm not actually a TC, so I don't get all of the new stuff on devservers for free. I'm really curious myself to know what aircraft they have on them. But again, what I'll do is I'm gonna work on the devserver stuff over the weekend, and I'm most likely going to try and stream whatever I've managed to gain on Monday.
Cible presque touchée! Ah! Cible touchée!
The guns at least do seem to hit hard on these early French destroyers. It's just the same that they have very
Contre-torpilleur!
low muzzle velocity.
11000 mètres!
Although oddly, the speed of the vessel almost makes up for it when it comes to leading an enemy ship.
4, 0! 4000 mètres!
So that's good at least.
Cible presque touchée!
The long reel is a bit of a pain as well.
7000 mètres!
We have most of the zones.
Cible touchée par
But I think it's only these early French destroyers with kind of bad reloads.
Ah! Ennemi touché!
Yeah, after this I'm going to make a little lineup of my Japanese stuff. With a coastal vessel, an aircraft. And I'm not sure if I want to use a battleship, because I don't think you can use battleships on this map.
Feu détecté sur le navire ennemi!
But I guess I could try. See what happens. So if I don't get this map, if I did that lineup, I'm just going to jump out and do another nations lineup.
Ennemi touché!
Go.
À bâbord! 4000 mètres!
Barre à bâbord!
Barre à bâbord! Terminé!
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Hauteur! En avant! Vaisseau ennemi coulé.
Paratigor, terminé.
I would definitely call this reserve French destroyer on the same... I'd say it's on the same level as the Italian reserve.
1000 mètres.
It is not too friendly to new players,
Terminé.
although I would say that the guns hit harder. Yeah, I'll definitely... An American loadout might actually be better.
Barre au milieu
Like,
du navire.
I'll bring a bomber, I'll bring a fighter with rockets.
Control.
Let's see what I can do. I'm actually also curious if those bases have anti-air guns on them. That American flag is doing some weird stuff.
Ennemi touché. Frappe directe. Navire ennemi en feu. Honneur, c'est puissant. Cible touchée par les obus.
Should be a sinking Clemson.
Ennemi détruit, je répète. Ennemi détruit. Frappe directe. Cible
Actually, I do have French planes with a appropriate lineup.
2000 mètres.
With an appropriate loadout, I mean. I think I do have a few.
Au fond dangereux de bas.
Préparez l'équipement Scorpion. Torpille prête.
Nous avons subi les dégâts. Au fond dangereux de bas.
It should be a dead G-class.
À l'avant. 4000 mètres. Frappe directe. Ennemi détruit.
There's a weird delay between torpedo impacts. Like when they actually register.
6-0. 1000 mètres.
Cold. Fire the gun.
Type de réparation. Comme bien contrôler les dégâts.
The only thing is though I don't have a coastal vessel of course with France to try and test out coastal artillery against these bases.
L'ennemi gicle et perd de la vitesse.
I'll go with another lineup for a match. And battleships will be for another time.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Cible touchée par les obus.
This being a much smaller message is so much nicer. No longer you just get shoved in your face by a big message in the middle.
Ouais. Cible en feu. Contre-torpilleur. À tribord. 5000 mètres.
I kind of get the feeling we're not going to win this match though.
À bord. Terminé.
I'm being shot at by the other naval base, that makes sense. It does seem like the naval base's targeting is a bit better then, so it can actually shoot over these islands.
Ouais. Cible touchée.
And it doesn't seem oppressive yet. It is a threat though. These naval bases are definitely a threat. But it doesn't seem too bad of one. As in you can ignore it for a little bit.
Contrôle des dégâts au groupe de réparation. Pompez l'eau des compartiments inondés. Maintenant. Ah. Frappe directe.
The enemy's getting closer to victory.
Frappe directe.
I should have brought some HE shells with me. Oh well. I also kind of turned myself in a bad spot here.
Frappe directe.
I will say the one thing I think about this map is that the lanes are quite narrow. Which doesn't really allow for many complex maneuvers.
Ah. Cible presque touchée.
We've captured most of the zone.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
Contre-torpilleur.
Which I quite like the sound of. This seems quite
Pliez-vous.
alright.
Allez les perdre.
It also seems that these coastal bases will actually switch targets fairly often as well. That's the Voiture as well. Voiture, whatever. And now I can test sail the Malin. And Bordas can now go stop speed. There we go. Milan is actually the one I wanted to test out real quick. Let's see if I can make a lineup first. I'm not going to take a battleship because I don't think you can have battleships in that match at all on that map. Coastal Fleet. We are bringing a PJ-2. We are bringing some aircraft. Namely, I think I'll go 4-3, yeah. I'll take the K-67 because it has a big bomb, although we have lower BR aircraft with the same bomb as well. So let's just take the low BR aircraft. That might be an interesting one to test out as well, like the automatic with small caliber guns. PT-15, I guess, and I should have a fighter with me as well. These don't carry rockets though, do they? Well, I think the army-based one should. K-61 doesn't. I think I'll have to do rockets later. Or I might do them another time. No, I really should try and find something with rockets. What has rockets? The J2 should have rockets, shouldn't it? No, that's another J2 then. The A7, but that's a bit too high in BR. Oh, sure, Nicholas. I've played a few matches in him already, but here it is. I'm going to think of what aircraft I can bring then. There should be a 0 with rockets, right? I think there was. Oh yeah, one of the D4s has it. I'm going to check that as well then. Yeah, this is the currently French Naval 3. It is incomplete. They've said it's incomplete. We're going to see more of it when the update actually goes live. And I'm also going to be playing this for a few more matches as well. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get close enough in Isuzu though with all the bots running around. D4Y2? Okay, I'm going to take the D4Y2 then. Let me just check, are they decent? They're very small rockets, but I might as well try them out. It's the same slot as the B7, that's fine. Because I think I have the P1Y1 right there. There we go. So let's try this out and see what happens. We'll go into realistic though. We do not know if Coastless Go is coming, and I also don't think I've heard if they're going to add a Coastal 3 or not this update. I hope they will, because it's... Also, I think I've heard them say that it's difficult to add a Coastal 3 for France because they didn't actually make that many coastal vessels. But I really hope they'll add some of them. And now we just wait on the matchmaking. There we go. Didn't have to wait too long. Same map, of course. So what I'm first going to do is try out artillery against them. So we're going to take the PJ-2 and run at the coastal base. Yeah, exactly. Just having something in the lineup would be nice for France. Coastal vessel. We will have to get pretty close to try and bombard one. But that's why I took a fast boat. Yeah, I'm going to have to get rather close to use it.
了解
And I think I'm going to try and approach like through here, behind this island, so I can stay out of the gun. Although I might be within gun range of that thing. I'll have to see.
進行方向に浅瀬
Small little rescue buoy.
取り返し
小型艦
The coastal battery is already opening up on me.
340 6000メートル
No. Hold on. Yeah, no, the main guns don't have HETF. Although they did add HETF to the 75.
5000メートル
This dev server, sorry. I should have to I'll have to recheck the Agla, but I don't think it has HETF.
小型艦方位340 5000メートル
Getting closer. The thing is, if I wanted to try and go for a direct line just to a coastal battery, I think it one-shot me if it hits. Yeah, I know. I don't think they have HETF on the main guns though, Nicholas. I think they still don't have that.
ターゲット特定小型艦
120 3000メートル
I'm almost within range, although I'd like to actually get pretty close for the most accuracy. Although it doesn't really differ that much.
面かじいっぱいターゲット特定小型艦
140 4000メートル
了解火事中央
小型艦
I'm also not going to cap.
140 2000メートル
取りかじ
了解取り返し
ターゲット特定小型艦
方位160 2000メートル
機関停止
直撃
火事中央
小型艦140 2000メートル
And that should be close enough, I guess.
敵に命中
Let's launch it, and I'm going to keep myself safe in case I could actually launch a second one.
ターゲット特定小型艦
140 1000メートル
It can... Okay, an RT strike will actually just annihilate a naval base. Good to know. Do I have points for an aircraft? I do have points for an aircraft, so let's do that first. So I do believe that an 800 kilo bomb might actually be overkill, so let's try the rockets first. And this will also simultaneously be a test to see if they have anti-air guns or not. Then again, it could also be very much the case that these naval bases aren't in their final state yet. Where the damage model of them is incomplete and just a placeholder. But we'll have to see. So I think that's a naval base, isn't it? Yeah, that should be one. So at least for now, a coastal artillery will wipe out the base, no problem. But that's definitely a naval base. Rockets selected. They're very tiny rockets. I'd be really surprised if it did any damage to them. Yeah, I think I already know that these rockets are just not going to knock out the naval base, but I'm just curious to see if they have anti-air defenses. Of course, the boats have anti-air defenses. But it seems that the naval bases do not. So, okay, what is it? That's a lot of naval guns, I'm not gonna lie. And I didn't get a hit from that. So it's like 6 bunkers, 6 small turrets, and 1 big turret for this naval base. Actually, I think it's more bunkers than that. Yeah, a lot of guns on that one. But they're all different, aren't they? So yeah, this is just like small bunkers. Is that even a naval base? It isn't. And I'm gonna get shredded now, there we go. Yeah, all the naval bases are different, which makes sense. The one with the big guns is obviously pointed towards the blue water spawn. Now we're going to test the 76 of the Chikugo. First we'll fire AP and then we can swap to the HE belts.
40 9000メートル
It might also be the case that the bases have different HP pools or different damage thresholds. Don't know. It actually prioritizing the coastal vessels over the base is a bit annoying though. But I think I'm going to just leave it at that for this test. And go back to grinding the French ships. But that's definitely something I'm going to take a deeper look into over the weekend. Now back to France. Do I actually have any aircraft I could use? I do. So I might as well take them in the lineup. This does look like a pretty cool map though. Let's take Fletcher because it's our new ship. Fletcher, I don't know. But let's see.
Branle-bas de combat, tout le monde à son poste. Moteur, pleine puissance.
This one should be pretty similar to the Aigle.
11 000 mètres. Croiseur léger. À l'avant. 10 000 mètres.
Branle-bas de combat, ennemi détecté. Barre au milieu du navire.
Barre au milieu du navire. Terminé.
I don't actually know if all chat works on dev servers. But I might as well try. That 11-inch gun turret is really scary.
Barre à tribord.
Barre à tribord. Terminé.
This reload is definitely more like it on these guns. And again, I do think it's like the same reload as the Aigle. There I go, finally got a hit. Although at least I can say for now that these bases look very promising. They don't seem all that potent, they're relatively easy to take out with concentrated fire. It's difficult to get a good lock on it though.
Les gars, au groupe de réparation, pompez l'eau des compartiments inondés, maintenant!
And there we go, taken out.
Croiseur léger. À l'avant. 6000 mètres.
Barre à bâbord, tout!
À bâbord, toutes. Terminé.
Barre au milieu du navire!
Actually really want to capture a point to try and see the new reload mechanic, like the batch reloading thing. But I don't think I'll get close enough to the capture point and stay alive long enough in the capture point.
Patrouilleur.
Though I can try.
6000 mètres.
I think I will.
Cible identifiée! Contre-torpilleur!
8-0. 4000 mètres.
Barre à tribord!
Barre à tribord. Terminé.
Allied forces have captured a zone.
Perte de la vitesse.
And these guns also do hit hard enough, even with just high explosive. Then again, I am firing at just a Clemson. Nothing too special.
Cible identifiée! Contre-torpilleur!
6-0. Contre-torpilleur. À bâbord. 12000 mètres.
Barre à bâbord!
We're winning.
Barre à bâbord. Terminé.
Now, the batch reload, can I see it in action?
Moteur! En arrière, tout!
So I have 5 guns. I've shot quite a few shells in them already. It reloads 10 at a time, that's good. Now, does it reload 10 for... Does it reload 2 shells for each gun? Or does it just reload 10 shells in the front gun? That is much more acceptable for a reload rate. I think it also just about keeps up with my fire rate, doesn't it? Or does it actually out-reload it?
Contre-torpilleur!
I think it actually out-reloads it. That's good.
Cible touchée par les obus.
Overall, it's shaping up to be an interesting naval update.
Milieu du navire!
Although I have yet to see what the battleship change will do.
Attirez. L'ennemi gicle et perd de la vitesse. Contre-torpilleur. 12000 mètres.
If I stop shooting this guy until the X-ray disappears. Okay, shoot him again. What will it show now?
Ennemi touché.
Nothing much. It does show. It shows the state of the ship, like it's currently lifting forward a bit. That's good. Although it doesn't really show the side-to-side list.
Ennemi touché.
Moteur!
Yeah, that's even missing.
Cible presque touchée. Ah, cible touchée par les obus.
I think it kind of tries to show the list, although not very well.
Cible détruite. L'ennemi gicle et perd de la vitesse.
Cible identifiée! Contre-torpilleur!
2-0. 500 mètres.
A little more effort and victory will be ours.
Préparez les tubes lance-torpilles! Tribord, tout!
À
Oh,
tribord.
there he goes dodging torpedoes, but he still ate one. And because I'm turning away, my turrets can't keep up, but I do still have another torpedo.
Torpille prête.
Did it not sink him? That's a strange bug going on with the torpedo delay.
Cible identifiée. Contre-torpilleur. 3, 4, 0, 2000 mètres. Moteur à l'arrêt.
À bâbord. 12 000 mètres.
Cible touchée par les obus. L'ennemi gîte et perd de la vitesse. Frappe directe.
And it should be, I think, a pretty easy victory.
Cible en feu. Feu détecté sur le navire ennemi. Cible touchée par les obus.
I guess.
Ennemi en déroute.
Although there's nothing stopping them from actually adding something like the Gepard later. That made me get to Milan. Still awake indeed. The Malaya coming up next. I do want to see how fast this thing goes when I spade it. Now we just choose some random upgrades because I don't really care anymore. I think should I not... I'm just not able to spare it, just barely. Alrighty. There we go. Finish it up and uninstall torpedo mode. How fast does the motor now go? 73. And I'm just before I end the stream, because I think I am going to end it just now. I'm going to tassel the Malaya.
Branle-bas de combat, tout le monde à son poste.
Again, rotation is pretty slow, but it's typical for French destroyers now. Good anti-air firepower.
Cible identifiée.
I just want to see what the muzzle velocity is like.
2, 8, 0, 500 mètres.
That's more like it. But still kind of low. I think I did start this with reference mode. So let's see how fast this thing can go.
Ennemi touché.
78 kph.
Cible touchée par les
I think that is our fastest destroyer. That is so damn fast. Look at it. I think it is our fastest destroyer. I think there might be a faster destroyer of the Russians. I think there is a destroyer that goes above 80. Yeah, the Russians are still faster. But not by a lot. Not by a lot. And okay. I think I am going to leave it there for tonight, as I do have to be up quite early tomorrow for something else. Thank you all for watching as usual. And if you have any other questions about the dev server, be sure to ask in the comments, because I'll be sure to read them before Monday when I might stream the dev server again. So, I'll sign off right here, and I'll see you all on Monday.